What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Tiny Tyler, and in today's video, we are talking Avatar Aang, the movie. It just dropped on Paramount Plus this morning. I'm going to be getting into my thoughts, my feelings on it, what I liked, what I didn't like about the film, and all these different things. So, spoiler warning ahead, if you have not seen it yet, click off the video now because I will absolutely spoil something for you if you continue to watch this. So, let's just get right into it, and I'm just going to say this. The film was fucking phenomenal. I know there was a lot of controversy and drama out there around the leaks, and I know millions of people have seen the leaked footage, the entire thing. I didn't, and I'm really glad I waited. Not that it really would have made that much of a difference because it was just so fucking good. It was so fucking good. Like, if I had to give it a rating, I'd probably give it, like, after one watch, like a 9.9 out of 10, with the point one being like a very like small like character critique in there. Maybe, yeah, very small critique. It's not, it really isn't that big a deal, but it's noticeable to like longtime fans. I mean, very noticeable to me. So right off the bat, I'm gonna get it because like I want to talk about animation, like the cinematography, the cinematic fight choreography going on, Team Avatar and like what's happening there, like the synergy that they have together still, which is cool. Tanga, his storyline, him as a villain, the overall theme of the Avatar universe, and then just other few character remarks I want to get into. So let's get into it with the animation. Like I was just absolutely in awe, like blown away by the animation. It was incredible. The fight choreography happening was amazing because we're not just watching the fight unfold laterally. We're watching the fight unfold in a sphere. Like we're moving around with the fight as it's happening, and it's a 2D animated film. Like, wow, was it incredible because of the like I have one scene in mind I'm thinking about with the team Avatar minus Aang fighting Tanga, because not only was it showing us the teamwork and the camaraderie that this team continued to build throughout the years, right? Because like if we rewind for a moment, like in our time it's been nearly 2 decades. I'm assuming in universe it's been like 10 to 15 years, somewhere in that range, since the events of the last Airbender show. And in order for them to fight like they did against Taga, they would have had to continue to fight in the thick of things together in that time period. Now, I know that there have been stories and comic books sharing with the audience what Team Avatar has been up to after the events of the 100-Year War. I personally have not read those. And for those of us who haven't, again, in our time, it's been nearly 2 decades. In universe, it's been like 10 to 15 years. So to see them still fighting together so cohesively was very cool. When Toph, she throws up that wall of rock and then shoots Sokka across the battlefield. Or I can't remember exactly what Katara, she like whipped, I think she grabbed the boomerang and Sokka and like slung him across the battlefield, or she wrapped it in ice so he could hit harder. I don't remember exactly, but they were working together there very beautifully. That kind of like teamwork can only really happen when you continue to work together day in and day out. And so like we know from Korra that they built Republic City together. And obviously the beginning of the show, they're, in the process of that. So they're building this, that's more of like a diplomatic teamwork, where it's talking things out, trying to find balance in that way. But for them to fight together, that's like a different level of camaraderie that they would have needed to continue to work together. So for those of us who haven't read the stories, the comic books that have came out in between and telling us what happens after the 100-Year War, it's really fucking cool to see that. And so like that compared with the animation and the cinematic like fight choreography, like all of the cinematography as a whole was just really beautiful at like capturing some of the essence of what Team Avatar was and has continued to be. And I've really fucking enjoyed it. Yeah. The next thing I really want to talk about is Taga and his whole storyline. Because at one point, I'm like, I almost feel like they undermined some of what Korra went through by bringing another air bender back before Korra has to do all this. And then even introducing this Sonam staff that can apparently imbue everybody with bending. And conceptually, it's cool, but it's almost like, I'm questioning, does it undermine what Korra went through? And at first, I'm like, yes, but now that I've had a little bit of thing on it, like, I don't, because I think this story really does hold up well. Because in a lot of ways, Taga, to me, he had the same energy as Zahir. Maybe with not as an extreme of an ideology, but the characteristics, the archetype of this character was very similar to Zahir. He was very convicted in what he wanted and where he was going and what he was going to do to get there. And I actually really did enjoy the story because it shows us something that Zahir also did. Even though Zahir wasn't like a true blue air nomad, never really studied with them, got his powers later, similar to Tanga. Tanga had one thing that Zahir didn't, and that was he spent time with the Air Nation and Air Nomad. So he was immersed in the culture. And so he actually illustrates my point a little bit more, which is that it feeds into the theme of the show. The whole theme of the show is balance. And the one thing we've always seen, especially before Korra's time rebuilding the Air Nation, and maybe even Korra as a whole, because she had more of like an aggressive tone to her, especially in the beginning, is that there is darkness inside the Air Nation. The element of air. Because again, the whole show is about balance. You know, the yin yang in season 1 of Avatar: The Last Airbender with the fish is in the pond. And with the Air Nation, it's always been the element of air. It's always been peace and heart. It's always been peace. It's been about conflict resolution. It's always given off like they're monks, very spiritual, holiness to them. What's the like positivity and seeing the good in everything. And while those are amazing aspects, in order for there to be balance, there has to be a darkness within in the Air Nation. And I think Tanga is a really good embodiment of that. Because I mean, he is actually like a vicious fighter and warrior. He's kind of ruthless in the way he attacks everybody. And like when he fucking squeezes like the air out of their airship that Team Avatar's on when they get trapped on the island, the island turtles. What are they calling them? The island turtles. Anyway, something like that. When they get trapped on the island. And it was just really cool to see because, again, it really feeds into the overall theme of the story. And I really enjoyed Tanga as a character. He really did. He was a good antithesis within the element of air to Aang. And I thought that was a very cool story to tell. They did a lot of cool things. Like, they kind of get away from that now. I throw nods to all the shows, like with the cabbage guy. I always love the cabbage guy. It looked like they gave us a little nod to Suki because, like, in the beginning, I'm like thinking to myself, where the fuck's Suki at? Her and Sokka were together at the end. Same thing with Mei and Zuko. So I'm like, where the fuck's Suki? So it almost seemed like they threw a nod to her at the end there where they showed the Kyoshi warriors. It did look like her as like the leader and her as the one talking. So there was 3 of them. The one to the right looked like Mei. And I know Ty Lee was the one who joined the Kyoshi warriors at the end of Avatar: The Last Airbender. But that looked like Mei. So I don't know. I mean, that was one of like my discrepancies with the film is that what happened to all the other characters, and they could have just been quick cameos, like Mei, Ty Lee, Suki, and definitely Suki at the end. But Iroh was the big one. He didn't have to be a part of the whole storyline. It could have just been a quick scene with him and Zuko, and him like counseling Zuko or something like that. It didn't have to be anything crazy for us to remember he's there because he was one of my favorite characters in the original series. So. Like when they brought him back in Korra, I lost my shit. So those were like a few, I wouldn't even say critiques, just like a question. Like I'm puzzled, My biggest critique is about Sokka. I'm not against him as a character now, but like they stripped him of like some of the most important qualities to him. And it's been again 20 years since the original show aired, and culture has evolved so much where I could see there being a lot of backlash against the film if they kept Sokka the same, but it really does strip Sokka of his essence. And what I mean by that is his inappropriate comments and a lot of the time the very like sexist comments that he would make. So culturally I understand why they did it, but from a character development standpoint I don't like that because it kind of stripped Sokka away. Now they could have made him more mature in that expression of inappropriateness. So they could have evolved that into his character, but they didn't do that. They removed it completely, and it removed. The reason I am critiquing this is because it removed a dynamic within Team Avatar that was severely missing. Because all Sokka felt like now was comedic relief. He didn't even feel like he was bringing that level of leadership and strategy to the team in this film. And that was because like it wasn't just his inappropriateness and those sexist comments, because like I am not a sexist at all, but that inappropriateness he brought to the table created a tension and friction within the team, and especially with his relationship with Katara, that the absence of it was felt. And again, I'm not saying they should have put in a bunch of inappropriate comments and made him an asshole, but they could have made it subtle and more mature rather than it being the same type of thing as before. But what they did was just remove that tension he brought with his inappropriate comments altogether. And that was missed in it. And again, it's a very minor critique. I don't think it pulled from the film, but just as a longtime fan of the show, the entire universe, it's like, yeah, I just felt that. I felt that part of him missing. And the only reason I think it's noticeable is because there's still a level of immaturity and goofiness to Sokka. Whereas, like, even though we didn't see him much in Korra, the way in the few scenes they do show him, he's very mature and stoic. He has matured into his role as a leader, and the way he's depicted in this film is he's not that far removed from the immature aspects of the boy he was. Like, that's still very much alive within him. In the Korra, for the little bit we do see him, he's matured out of that, So they don't even show like that transition, whereas everybody else that you can see the transition in their maturation. And so my critique is in that because they still show him at that level of immaturity, they should have continued to show that the inappropriate comments and shit like that he makes, the tension he brings to the Team Avatar, and especially his relationship with Katara. That's like my biggest gripe with that. But like the island turtles making a reappearance was really cool. When Aang was calling a friend to bring them back to Republic City, I actually thought it was going to be the island turtle who gave him the energy bending, that island turtle. But it was still a cool little nod back to the ocean spirit. And I guess thematically does make sense because they're surrounded by the ocean too. So that was really cool. It felt like there was a good balance with fan service. It was incredible. It was such a good film. I would have loved to have seen it in theaters, but like, yeah, man, I'm getting the chills thinking about it because it really felt like a payoff as a longtime fan, and as like I have a deeply romantic side to me, and I loved seeing Katara and Aang together. That hit home in such a way that I can't even put in words. Like it hits me in my feels seeing them together, matured. Like you can see their love has really flourished, and I really fucking enjoyed that. So that's it. That's all. I'm gonna leave it there because I got some things I gotta get to today, work related. But like that, I just want to talk about. The film was great. Really fucking enjoyed it. I can't wait to see what else comes out of Avatar Studios. Hopefully, all the controversy and drama around it can start to subside, and this studio and these creatives can really start to flourish and bring these stories to life. Because this universe is one of my favorites. It's got a special place in my heart, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see what else they can bring to life. So that's it. That's all, y'all. Thank you for watching this video. I would love to hear your thoughts down below. What did you think of the film? What did you dislike? I know there's a lot of people have strong opinions about this universe. We can have differences of opinions without being assholes. So that's it. That's all, y'all. Peace out.